Blitz is defined as a sudden, savage attack. It is indeed all this. The effect is sure. The premise is simple. It's a basic, primal confrontation, man to man. No excuses are offered, none accepted.
Welcome to the latest edition of Longhorn Blitz with horns247.com.
It's like a radio station.
Now, here are your hosts, lifetime Longhorn Rod Babers,
pure athlete, yeah.
I transcend race, hombre.
Matt Butler.
I don't talk man. I back it up.
And we are chock full of that, man.
Damn right.
And Jeff Howe.
It's still real to me, damn it.
And that's the bottom line, because Stone Cold said so.
If you're gonna blitz, come strong, but don't come at all.
Coming strong with another edition of Longhorn Blitz with Horns 24/7. I'm Jeff Howe. We're doing a special podcast today. We're going to do a watch along. This will be in video form because we do have Travis Crum, the best in videographer in the podcast, came back. I am Jeff Howe. Let me bring in the rest of the team. Is the master of the soundboard, the drop shooting extraordinaire, Matt Butler. How are you, sir?
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful. And the third member of our team, lifetime Longhorn, our lockdown corner here on the show, lifetime Longhorn, 2002 UT All-American, 2002 semifinalist for the Jim Thorpe Award, fourth-round draft choice of the New York Giants in 2003, spent his NFL career with the Giants, Lions, Bears, Bucks, Broncos, and a year with the Hamilton Tigercats in the CFL. When he was done with football, got himself back to Austin, Texas in the 40 acres where he earned his degree. Whenever that T-ring comes back in, we will make sure he wears it proudly. Nevertheless, he is a card-carrying member of DBU, number 21 in your program, number 1 in your hearts, and we will see him in our watch-along today, Mr. Rod Babers.
Thanks for the intro, brother, as always.
We are practicing social distancing. We are safe distances from each other. We've wiped everything down. We've Lysol everything, so we're good. We are watching today the 2000 Texas versus Texas A&M game. We talked about this a lot the last time we were live with you guys. We know last week was a best of. We had some technical difficulties, but we're back this week live and in person. We talked about this game. I wanted to do a watch along. So for the listening audience, we'll give you time markers. So Matt, as we start this game, what is our time marker? We're at 4:39.
Yep, just go to YouTube, type in the 2000 Texas A&M game, and we're at the 4:39 mark. It was Bowie Bulldog, Victor at kick return, and then we're hitting play right now with Simsy at quarterback. Just said that they were not redshirting and not transferring.
Yeah, a lot of redshirt transfer talk. Man. So Rod, kind of walk us through Chris Sims at this point. The open broadcast talking about redshirting and transferring.
It seemed pretty absurd, a lot of the stuff there.
Things like that. Behind the scenes, was that overblown, or was there any legitimacy?
No, that wasn't a conversation. I mean, that was a different age for quarterbacks. These days, I'm sure one of them, Major or Sims, would have transferred. At the time, we did have one of our quarterbacks transfer who actually ended up going to San Diego State, Adam Hall.
Yeah.
Who was
right after
in 99 class.
Dunn had just
he was in our 99 class, and Adam Hall left and went to San Diego State. So it was happening, but definitely not as frequent as it is today.
So as we look at the starting lineups, we're looking at the A&M starting lineup. Rod, NFL talent, Ty Warren, Ron Evans, all these guys were drafted. This is the dying days of the wrecking crew. Roy Lee, Bradley, Brian Gamble. Rod, you probably knew some of these guys. You took recruiting trips.
A few of them. Terrence Kill, T. Kill, and I were close. Sammy Davis is another guy that I got to know because he's from the Houston area there in Humboldt. So I knew a couple of those guys, from the Wrecking Crew days.
So we look at this Texas offense, this Greg Davis offense, and what'd you know on third and down, we get a pass to Hodges Mitchell, 9-yard shot.
Hodges Mitchell did everything, man. He did everything. I mean, I was a youngster, obviously. It's my first year as a starter when Hodges was basically at his peak. But, man, Hodges Mitchell, probably one of the most underrated running backs in Texas history. You go look at his workload for a guy his size. That's almost it's almost unheard of for a guy that size to have that kind of workload.
Yeah. Speaking of doing everything, we got Chris Stockton in here coming in to punt. He's your punter, your place kicker. He's before Justin Tucker. Chris Stockton's doing a little bit of everything.
He was dependable too. So all you want your kicker is to be dependable. Oh, look at Ungar.
Michael Ungar.
Ungar was one of the fastest
down there.
Ungar was probably one of the fastest white guys I've ever seen in my life. I believe at the pro day he ran like a 4.4 or 4.3.
Wow.
No, I'm serious. Ungar was legit, man. Ungar was the real deal, and I hated him on scout team.
Yeah, and just showing Vasher in his rare 41 days.
Yeah.
Back in, you don't remember. I don't ever remember Vasher as a 41.
That was he was a freshman, so he was still a youngster. I mean, hell, he probably could have ended up starting in that secondary too.
Mark Ferris leading the A&M offense.
So, and this was what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, Robbie, where you're at the top of the screen, and Greg Brown right there inside, and a little bit of communication between y'all.
I mean, you can see guys playing bump around across the board, which is, we should have been at more levels there too. That should have been better levels, but Greg Brown, he was smart and savvy, man.
First play from scrimmage for the Aggies, it's a Greg Brown pick 6. So, Rod, they're going to show the replays on this. Kind of walk people through when you're in a situation like this. Because everybody sees you guys communicating. What are probably, not that you remember verbatim, but what are you guys calling out right here?
You call him tango, and that's basically we're going to dance. So I'll take the outside cut, he takes the inside cut, and they probably thought we were just going to play strict man-to-man bump and run. Usually when you play bump and run, and we were on very bad, we're on levels there. So
they wanted to run you through the screen.
Usually people, they get bumped off because they get picked because, they're on the same level. We were probably a half a yard, maybe a yard apart. That gives you just enough leverage, just enough space to play that tango. They thought we were playing strictly man-to-man. It basically turns into a zone concept. Boom. Same thing with my pick 6 in the Oklahoma game. They thought we were playing strictly man-to-man. Tango turned it into a zone concept, and you back off at the last minute, just read the routes concepts.
And we should have mentioned also at the beginning, Mike Williams and Leonard Davis on this line on both sides. Huge bodies.
Yeah, and we're also watching the hour-and-a-half version of this game. It's courtesy of the Longhorn Network, so we're jumping ahead. We're at the 6-minute mark in the first quarter.
Yeah, old Trissel days. He came on The Great Outdoors with Ken Milam.
I love Trissel. He's a good guy.
So rather than talk about the wrecking crew again, this is the wrecking crew.
I remember it.
It's dying days though.
They still had some ballers in the wrecking crew, man. Sammy Davis was he a first round pick?
And
Terrence Kill was a second round pick.
Ty Warren was a first round pick.
Did Terrence Kill pass away?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, unfortunate thing. He had also, I think, he got in trouble with getting, it was the H-Town coding sent to San Diego team headquarters.
So, Rod, this is still a time in football at all levels where I think we're kind of getting to the end of people replicating that early 90s Dallas Cowboys offensive line from big, massive bodies.
Girth.
And you see Leonard Davis, Tillman Holloway, Derek Dockery, Michael Williams. Those are not small guys.
They're not. And honestly, we should have been a more dominant rushing team considering how much talent we had on that O-line. I forget that you had that many elite offensive linemen on that line.
So there's 2 top 5 draft picks on that line.
One line.
Yeah. And you thought Leonard's listed at 6'6", 365 on the opening of this. And so that makes Mike Williams your small tackle.
Rod, when we talk about Hodges Mitchell, it's really unfortunate his career just where it lands because he's right in between Ricky Williams and Cedric Benson.
Yeah.
So that's probably why he's forgotten.
He is. I agree with that. And it ended for him that play against Oregon, right? That was his last play playing football when he got that horrific injury. Who was it? Rashad Bowman? Did I get that name right?
I'm not sure.
Bowman, it was something like that, right?
Yeah, with him though, you look back at just overall with his career at Texas, he was really ahead of his time, the type of multifaceted back in the way he was used. Was he one of the few members of the 30-40 club?
No, he didn't make it. He should have been.
Yeah.
He should have been. He was close a couple of times.
So while we're at Rob, we talk about this defense, this 2000 Texas defense. You guys lost Cedric Woodard from 99 going into 2000. But we talked about this line a few weeks ago. Kalen Thornton, Corey Redding, Sean Rogers, Casey Hampton.
It's crazy.
All 4 of your D linemen are in the NFL. We've also got another first-round pick, Marcus Tubbs, who's getting reps in there.
He's in rotation
on the D line. And then in the secondary, Greg Brown played in the NFL, Ahmad Brooks, yourself, Quentin Jammer. If you want to look at the arc of the Texas program under Mac Brown, like we talked about, this is kind of the mesh point, if you will, of kind of the end of the John Malkovich era and just the massive amounts of talent Mac Brown was bringing in early.
Sort of like the Feshian group of Sterns with the leftovers from the last year.
And Mac was trying to get as much of that talent on the field as quickly as he could. Right? He was trying to get. You go look at those 99 and 2000 classes. They got on the field quick. And I think that Cole Pittman over there, you know what I mean? Like Cole Pittman came in 99. C. Red's getting reps out there. Like say Tubbs is already in rotation. Nasty Nate's already getting sub package reps. we're throwing him out there. Dakari Pearson, he was a freshman All-American. I believe Dakari Pearson was. So Mac, and obviously I end up starting. So he's trying to get as many of those 99 and 2000 guys out there as possible. reinvent the roster.
You got 2 or 3 guys blocking Casey Hampton every play.
You got to.
And think about both line of scrimmages where you have Hampton Rogers on the defensive line of scrimmage, you got Mike Williams and Leonard Davis on that. That could be a stack of both lines that Texas team's ever seen.
Rod, kind of break down your former roommate, your DB, your good friend Miles Brooks. I mean, Brooks is a guy that made the league as an undrafted free agent, got him a couple of years, but he's a guy who talked to Dwayne Akina, you hear Bull Reed talk over years, and they talk about all the talent DB, and they talk about just how important Brooks was to that secondary. What about Brooks so important to what you guys are doing?
Oh man, that's a great question.
It's like the Blake Gideon of y'all.
Well, he was a quarterback in high school,
right,
which really helped him out. I think it allowed him to see the game from a different perspective. He was great at reading route concepts, and even as a corner, man, he was tough as nails. For a guy his size, he was smaller than me. He was a great tackler. In that Colorado game where we lost in the Big 12 title game, I'll say he was tied for our leading tackler in that game. He was all over the place.
I don't remember if it was Bobby Purified, Chris Brown, but man, he came up in the hole on the 3rd and short and blew somebody out.
And that's what Coach Akina loved about him. The truth is, Ahmad Brooks was being recruited over. All right, that was just the truth of the matter. We had already, he was a corner when I came in, and then once they moved Jammer to corner, there was only one spot left, and I took it, and it was like, all right, we're moving past Brooks. Now we got these young DBs we're going to be recruiting, and he forced himself into the equation, and he was so smart and he was so tough that Coach Akina said, and Coach Akina was always about getting your best players on the field. Coach Akina's brilliant idea was, when Brooks, became a safety, he said, well, I'm going to have my safeties basically be corners. I'm going to have them have the same skill set as a corner. That's why he loved having a guy like Nasty Nate, loved having a guy like Brooks playing safe. So we match up with those spread offenses. Once, Oklahoma changed everything in 2000. And they won the national title running that air raid. That was the beauty of it in 2001 when Coach Akina came along, and Brooks fit that perfectly.
And Brooks as a player, when you talk about how just cognitive he is and being the former quarterback, not only understanding pass concepts, but also he was an option quarterback that was a guy that would run. So that's the type of guy you can see he isn't afraid to come into the hole. He hits it like a guy hits a hole. And then when you talk about just the mental awareness, everything you explained was sort of the role that Blake Gideon played as a freshman. He's a former high school quarterback that came in, very smart player that was like wise above his football years. Maybe not the best skill or body for the position, but the best skill and mind for the position. So he was able to lock in the rest of the pieces and be that type of player.
Speaking of tough, Rod, you look at that A&M offense, you got big 280-pound Jamar Toombs.
That was before Jaworski. Man, they had a thing of 280-pound running backs.
I remember Coach Bull Reed yelling at us. Just, it's party at the football. You gotta, we gotta party at the football, hang on, and hope for help.
You see young Marcus Tubbs in there.
Was that, look at Casey, I think is that Seth McKinney from A&M, from Westlake also?
And E.J. Whitley, I believe, played
double team holding them all up.
Every time. And now big Sean Rogers.
Not even moving him.
I mean, you couldn't double team both of them.
So you couldn't move Casey Hampton on that double team. He wasn't giving up his square
I don't think a double team ever moved him. Period. That's why he's on the Steelers all-decade team.
He's like the beefed-up version of an Aaron Donald. He's just in a 340-pound man body.
Matt, what is our time marker right here?
We're at about it would be 15:55.
Okay, 15:55. We're starting the second quarter of the game broadcast.
Game starts heating up in a second.
Right, Texas leading 7-0.
What's the score of this game end up being?
43-17, I believe.
That escalated quickly.
Yes. That's the coming out party. This is the game, the famous game of Phil in the stands in costume almost, like where he has the glasses, the turtleneck, the hat. This is the one where you see the one still frame where it's within protection version of Phil Simmons.
Rod, a lot was made going into this game. Not Bethel Johnson. Robert Ferguson had an injury.
Robert Ferguson was a beast.
TV broadcast made a big deal. Did you guys, and some players handle it different ways, did you guys concern yourselves a lot with specific personnel, or was it a situation of, hey, we're just going to do it?
Yeah, no, it was definitely personnel based because we had Quentin Jammer. We had Jam at corner. So usually, especially now, in my first year as a starter, I believe, and I'm not sure it happened obviously in this game, but there would be weeks where we would just game plan jam being on the top guy because that was a different age of football. Guys were 21 personnel. Nobody's moving receivers.
You weren't
around.
motioning
It's not
them.
a pre-snap motion, all that kind of stuff. You're not being very creative about how you use those guys. These days, it's a nightmare. It's almost impossible to do these days unless you got a really versatile defense. But back then, hell man, they put their best guy on the outside, just let Quentin Jammer take him all day, every day, and that's what Rod B. 2000. I mean, I got picked on a lot because I was the other corner.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody was picking on Quentin Jammer. If you were smart, you weren't picking on Quentin Jammer. And they would throw it Rod B a lot. And I didn't earn my stripes probably until 2001, where teams like, man, we're not picking on Rod B or Jammer. We're going to pick on them safeties. And that's when Nathan Basher started making pay. Yeah, and then, it's like, and from there, where you got to go? You got to run the ball. And that's how teams beat us in 02. They kind of ran the ball.
Yeah.
It's,
You got a short yardage situation there. It's going to give it to
Ooh,
two.
did they? I think he got it.
Muscle his way through there. Tyrone Jones coming off the edge. Tyrone Jones was a beast for you guys on special teams.
Tyrone Jones used to block kicks. The old school, his vertical had to be close to 40 inches. It had to be 40 something inches. I mean, he would literally just do just a high vertical to try to block kicks.
I
He had
can't
a lot
tell
of few
you
of them.
anything else about Tyrone Jones' career at Texas other than I remember him being on the field goal block team.
Dude, he was a starter,
Yeah.
of course, but I mean, he should have, honestly, he was a freakish athlete, though. Great body for kind of the modern day football, for your linebackers. And he could move, and he was a great athlete, too. He kind of reminds me of Keenan Robinson in the way that he was built. But Keenan Robinson was a sleeker athlete.
Party at the football, like you said, Rob, look at all his orange jerseys.
and blowing up. Who's coming to blow up the
Knock the
pile?
pile down, man.
Friendly fire.
I hated being that guy. Every time, Court Redding was that dude too. Out of control. He would
Party
just
the
run,
football.
and he would tackle the entire pile. It's like, see, Red, you need to be a little bit more accurate in taking out the pile. You taking me out too.
Yeah,
Watch this. Oh, it's going to be, I think the Big Sean does it here though. Come take out the pile. Boom.
Yep, and there's.
You see Rod B avoiding it until I'm out, and I'm good. I just want to make sure I'm in the film, I'm close to the pile, so I won't get yelled at.
And there's tons of those guys in football. It's like in the NBA, you see a player or two that plays like that, and they get mad at them and start fighting because they blow out legs.
Right here, Whitaker on the That was a nice little draw play, though. That was good call against what you guys were doing defensively there, Rob. This is something, to your point.
Well, because we're playing man-to-man.
Yeah, and to your point a minute ago, this is the kind of stuff that gave you guys problems.
It did. That's how Oklahoma kept beating us. I mean, it really was. It was once the team would decide to, commit to the run, and that was hard to do because, Casey Hampton and Sean Rogers early on. That was tough to do. But if you could do it, you could beat Texas.
It is sort of cool that Aggies have a dog, and I love dogs. But then my first instinct was like, Reveille.
I love Reveille. Reveille is.
I wish we had a dog. Like that dog. It's cool that it's like you had that in Elga, and Beaver already tried to kill one of
Do you
them.
realize they don't have to use a collie?
No.
They can use any kind of dog. They just
That's
chose.
their regal
No,
dog.
I think they chose it when like Lassie was famous and made like collie like the most famous dog in America. But they can choose any kind of dog and they still choose a collie. It's like Aggies. Choose a different dog. Go with the lab.
Yeah, diversity.
They should just go with a service dog. They should go with a service dog every 5 years or so. Just pick a new service dog.
You know what that reminds me of? Remember
Be
that
awesome.
the Bat Blue commercial with Rick Moranis back in the day when he interviewed Guy LaFleur? It's like, where's LaFleur? Mean like the wolf? And he's like, actually, man, it's a flower. And they're like, well, tough flower. Like, oh, where's that? I think it was Rick Moranis goes, roses have thorns, eh?
No, I agree. The collie, I'm like, come on, man. You can get a little tougher than the collie.
So, Matt,
So I
fast forward
skipped
us a
ahead
little
past
bit.
the
We're
collar.
at 226, 21-27, 21-28 mark.
Oh.
Chris Sims in the offense back on the field.
I'm looking at two backs, baby.
You made the point a minute ago. I think you guys.
Okay, look at that. Look at that right there.
Yeah, motion.
Motioning out. Okay.
Moving, getting a mismatch.
Come on, Simpson.
Did Leonard Davis get hurt in this game? Because we see a lot of Corey Quiet at left tackle.
Must have.
Yeah.
Because he's not. Corey Quad wasn't like in the rotation room.
Yeah.
So yeah, it must have been something.
Against that,
Affleck trivia.
I bet it's Johnny Lamb Jones or Darryl Royal.
See, this is the interesting thing though. What Greg Davis just did, right? So he's going to motion out Hodges, Mitchell to end up getting basically 11 personnel look with one back in the backfield, full back, and then a tight end. And why not just put them 3 wideouts out there?
Very true.
Yeah.
Three
Why not just
freshmen,
spread
that's
these
pretty
Aggies
great.
out, man?
It didn't seem like Robert Chris Sims. It didn't seem like he figured that out until really after the Oklahoma game of your senior year.
Yeah.
I remember
It
the
did.
last half of that 02 season, it seemed like you guys were in 10 or 11 personnel pretty much exclusively.
I agree. I think they figured it out then. I don't even think Sims was in shotgun. He should have been in shotgun the whole time.
That was when they put him in the
That's when they should
shotgun.
put him in the shotgun. Yeah, he wasn't in shotgun enough either, in my opinion.
Yep.
Should
Now
have been in
you
shotgun more.
now you got 3
third and
wide.
8, so they got him in the shotgun.
Got
Now
him
we got
passing
3
down
guys.
situation, but when it becomes so predictable.
That's true. Yeah, now you got your 10 personnel out there. 4 wide.
Again, you got an A&M defensive line that's got a lot of NFL talent.
Ooh, I like that play though.
Ability.
That was a nice play call by G. Davis. Okay. That's a nice play call. I see it, Sid.
I think you get the replay, you can see the route concept.
No, that was a nice play call. They had like a little stack bunch formation in the close to the line of scrimmage. Right, see with BJ.
Yep.
Ooh, okay.
He just beats his man.
Yeah, he just beat him.
Because he didn't even go
That's what
inside
I'm
of him. He
saying.
went
Dude,
around them.
If you keep those guys out there all the time, one of those guys is gonna end up almost wide open because they were all like 3 5-star wide receivers. And that's in addition to the veterans you had coming back in the rotation. You should have kept going 11.
And that's what y'all do in the second half. In the second half, you do open
look at
it
that.
up.
Same
Again,
concept.
Hodges, same idea.
Concept. You're gonna end up, and you're gonna pass it.
But he's
Try
getting a
to-
mismatch there, at least getting, you see how he sees,
nice.
nice passing.
That was a
reception
beautiful
by BJ.
pass,
God.
though.
Yeah, a bullet.
Did he-
That was a rocket. I remember, we're going to rewind this one just for 1 second. So we'll be
That's
back
an
to the
NFL
Sims
throw right
touchdown,
there.
23-40.
This is going to get called
Rocket.
back on a
NFL
RPI,
threat.
But yeah, that back
What
shoulder.
was it? Offensive guy?
Yeah.
On BJ?
Pushing off. But that's,
Come on, baby.
Rod, that back shoulder, too, that's how you coach it to be thrown right there.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the throws that when you see Sims, you know,
You're like,
people
that's
just
why
light
he's
up.
playing.
I mean, yeah, your eyes light up. You're like, I don't know if a lot of quarterbacks in Texas football history can make that throw. No, it ain't a lot of them. It's a few, but it ain't a lot of them.
Not many NFLers make that throw. Like, that is a rocket.
Yeah, they're going to get BJ here for RPI.
And it was a pretty
And I don't think he had to do it.
No.
Now, it's
I
about,
think it was such a great throw that he could have, and the DB wasn't looking, so all he had to do was just kind of fake out the DB like he was going for the over the shoulder fade, and then come back with the back shoulder fade.
The veteran BJ Johnson probably does it.
That's a great point. I forget they are babies right now. They are freshman babies, but still, BJ's better. He's mad at himself. He's like, yeah, I didn't need it.
Well, he's mad because he knows he got to go answer to Coach Drake.
you see him and Roy both on the
Coach Drake,
sideline.
I can imagine what Coach Drake said. Something very derogatory.
So again, only 2 wideouts out there. Sloan.
Same concept again.
38-yard line.
He loves that concept.
I
I like that though. Okay. Ooh.
Back right here on the
Nice. Good play.
tunnel
Good play
screen.
call.
And each time we've seen Hodges switch
Good play
out.
call. But that's what I'm saying. He is that kind of back. He has that kind of multiplicity.
And on that last one where we saw the inside drag from BJ, it's because you have Hodges go out, pull that corner out, gets BJ the
Opens up
mismatch
that space.
inside, not against the number 1 corner.
Rod, no disrespect to Matt Trissel, but if I'm an offensive coordinator, I'd rather have Montreal Flowers out there than or Sloan Thomas.
You know what I mean? That's all. I agree with you. You know, I'm with you. Trissel's no Andrew Beck.
Hey man, like we talked about the 2014 offense, you had 3 NFL tight ends going on. It's a shame one of them was playing quarterback.
I mean, it's Skis. Skis is hurt at this point.
Yes.
I believe. So that's why our tight ends. It's like Chad Stevens is the fullback, and I don't even know if Brock Edwards is out there.
I don't believe Brock
Yeah, I haven't seen any of him
I
yet.
think maybe he's here, but he's not playing.
So we're at the 10:47 mark of the second quarter, and Matt, what was our time marker?
We're at 26-13, but it looks like the field goal team coming out, so we can skip ahead a few minutes.
Ahead.
And it's good, another day from Stockton.
Replay the Aggies.
And then here we go. So it looks like a quick turnaround. Probably a quick ready to head.
Yeah, it moved ahead. So we're at the 27, 11, 12, 13 mark of the video. Under 4 minutes to go in the first half.
Oh,
This is the play, Matt, I think you were talking about.
Yeah, when you see him coming up to the side,
wow.
With Casey Hampton.
there'll be a
That
few
was,
of them.
he destroyed the line of scrimmage on that play. Basically,
Jamar Toombs is a big
he
game.
imploded the line of scrimmage.
That's a hellacious collision, man. Ron, there's no way Toombs weighs 275.
You think that?
I think they're over
doing it?
I think he's his legit weight. I'm taking the over on 275.
I mean, he was huge. I wasn't trying to hit him. I was glad I was out there having to cover because I didn't want to meet him in the hole. That's for sure.
Oh. Yes, Matt. Okay, Matt. This is the play where Casey Hampton helped destroy this option.
Ooh. Fumble, another turnover, going back.
Tyrone Jones picks up a fumble. Texas D getting a turnover. I just want everybody to appreciate. There's Rod B with the celebration. I just want everybody to appreciate this replay right here. What we're going to see Casey Hampton do as Garrett Danielson chastises A&M for continuing to run the option when it hasn't worked all day.
Our defense was way too fast to be able to
watch Casey Hampton on this.
Way too fast. Oh,
the block,
and then he's crawling, and he's able to somehow force a fumble because he's crawling and hits an elbow.
He was literally on all fours. Like, that was like a football drill.
Yeah.
That was literally a football drill that you do with your players.
In his head.
He had to get on all fours to escape the block, and he still made the play. Unbelievable.
We're going to see it.
Ooh.
And that's what Sims, I think his ankle gets ginger after that one.
I think we might be getting ready to see a deep ball to Roy Williams here. I think this is the sequence.
Oh yeah, and hits Roy for basically the whole drive on 2 big passes, I think.
Texas, and let's try to get a home run ball.
It's not much time.
He defeated 2 offensive linemen to make that play.
That's Ron Edwards. That's again, man. A&M defense. As I keep saying, the record cruise in its dying day, but they've still got talent, especially in that defensive front.
That's not great when you're the quarterback, but it's a great view when you're a football player.
Antoine Kirk Hughes is a really highly recruited guy coming out of Washington.
Antoine Kirk Hughes was a steady starter, man, for real. He was. Oh.
Kind of like, would you say he was kind of like the Kent Perkins of your era?
Yeah.
Not elite, but just.
Not elite, but steady. You know what I mean?
You knew he was going to be there.
Yep. And I think now I'm trying to think if he ever even got a shot in the league. I don't think he did.
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
So we're up to 30-16.
So we're going to see a Sims deep shot right here.
Beast.
Good Lord.
Ooh, what?
Yeah, just a freak athlete.
This is why when
freshman.
we talk about my all-time favorite Texas players, why Roy Williams will always be up there for me is because of stuff like this.
Wow.
Just
that was like Cirque du Soleil where he contorted his body and then the catch radius on full display.
Rob,
Sammy Davis is bailing out too.
This is Sammy Davis. This is somebody's number 1 corner.
And his PI. And I think he might have grabbed him a little.
He's PI'd and it does not called, but it doesn't matter. He makes the catch anyway.
That's amazing.
And yeah, freak playing. He gets another one.
Unbelievable.
And that's a freshman.
And it wasn't a great throw, but I think Sam just knew I just got to get it up. If I get it up to him, he'll go make a play.
Well, that's like we talked about with Sam Ellinger and L.J. Humphrey 2 years ago.
Get it
Just
up.
get it in his area and he'll do the rest.
Oh, Simsy, okay. Get what you can. That was a smart move.
Smart move, man. Right decision.
Sims always played good games against A&M for some reason. That was like, I don't think he had a bad A&M game.
Couple blowouts.
Yeah, he always showed up in that game.
There's Hodges Mitchell again.
Ooh, okay, Hodges?
Doing a lot of that.
Oh, man.
Fighting
I think
through
he
it.
broke 4 tackles on that. Okay, Hodges, look at him, man. Look how people don't love Hodges enough, man. Hodges needs to get more love. I'm telling you.
I loved his story.
He still works at Texas.
He was ahead of his time, though, Hodges was.
I know he was, but like you said, I think he's sandwiched in between 2 goats. That's what hurts him.
Yeah, and some people got to hear Hodges talk about his recruitment with Mac on our Longhorn Blitz best of last week because I played the story and just sort of crazy him being the guy in North Carolina and growing up there and committing, wanting to be with Coach, but then it all worked out and he ended up being with Coach in Texas the next year. It's pretty nuts.
That's awesome. He still works over there too for the athletic department, actually.
I think this is going to be another one to Roy. Yeah, should be coming up
And
soon.
Hodges, look at that
Burst.
step.
He had that quickness, though. He's like a modern day back just in 2000, you know?
He really tests patience.
Man, if he doesn't get hurt, he can go to the league and be a low budget kind of. Man, I'm trying to think of
Fozzie Whitaker.
Yeah, Fozzie's kind of in that.
Out of our players, the only player similar when he was at Texas, because Fozzie had that quick step before the injuries, and then he sort of became the older Fozzie Bear. I mean, Obadiah was used the same way.
Obadiah was kind of used.
There's that formation again, Rod, shift to 11 personnel look.
This was a game plan specific thing.
Coming back to him.
And they went to Hodges on that one. Yeah.
At least in the beginning of engineering a mismatch.
For Sims.
Rod, I know Greg Davis gets a lot of criticism during this era of Texas football.
Check to play Roy.
Can you say at this point, though, that he's one, as Chris Sims gets smothered by the A&M rush, can you say at this point that Greg Davis is still really trying to figure out? He's in that point where, with Ricky, they were in I formation, get downhill, smashing the mouth, and now he's got Chris Sims and all this skill talent. He's trying to figure out, all right, how do I? Still very much in the process of figuring out how do you make all these parts fit.
Yeah, because you still got the young wideouts, and Sims, he's just starting to ascend to be, a solid starting quarterback for you. So I agree with you. I don't think he figured it out. I don't think he figured it out totally ever while Sims and those wide receivers.
Yeah.
I think there were certain game plans and there are certain kind of portions and segments of games where you can see like, oh man, that's a great play. They game plan that perfectly, like you said, when they started running more 11 personnel and 10 personnel. But for the most part, I think he did a good job of putting Sims like right here in the shotgun, and putting him in a position that sounds to be successful, 3rd and 13, but it's more predictable. And I appreciate that Greg Davis always changed his offense, man, to be specific to the talent he had.
O-line not helping out Sims here early on.
But it goes to what you said about those big offensive linemen. Their pass blocking was not always easy for those big men.
And that's the predicament you sort of found Greg Davis in, because he never was able to have a true identity. It wasn't his fault, but like when you're dealing with first two quarterbacks trying to figure it out, but he's been in a run-heavy type football was just that way for 20 years, but Greg Davis, a mind that could be able to marry the two together, and you can see some innovative thoughts and ideas, but you can tell he also wants to continue to run the ball, and you have this offensive line, so it's hard to be able to be malleable, and you see him sort of just go with the talent, who's around, who's left for the next 2 or 3 years until Vince comes around.
Get a Hail Mary here that falls short with Roy riding the defensive Michael Jameson to the ground as we go to halftime.
So we can cut ahead real quick.
Yeah, Matt's going to fast forward us.
Yeah, Greg Davis should get more props too. Greg Davis actually, in my opinion, was an offensive genius. He was a great offensive coordinator, but not a great offensive play caller.
All right, Matt.
That's the difference.
What's our time marker now, Matt?
So we're starting back up here at the 37 mark. It looks like Texas just got the ball back to start the second half. Hitting play at 37:05. And
Rod, this is Chris Sims in this third quarter. This might be as good a quarter as any Texas quarterback has ever had, and I don't say that. I say that knowing what guys like Vince Young and Colt McCoy did, but
it's a bold statement, sir.
Almost 300 yards in the second half.
Chris Sims is gonna do some things in this third quarter that this third quarter is why, if you bought into Chris Sims, this is why.
You see Mike Hankwitz there. He looks like an Aggie defensive coordinator.
Antoine Kirk Hughes being helped off the field here.
Yeah, I'm going to cut ahead real quick to the 38-minute mark.
Sims will strike to B.J. Johnson down to the A&M 40.
And you can see this is where Texas really opened up the passing game after the halftime, to y'all's point about Greg Davis and the ability just needing some time to adjust, see what you're seeing. Texas ends up putting up 33 points in the second half, outscoring them 33-10.
Rod, what did the A&M game mean to you? Like, I know it means different things today. Ricky even talks about, even if the Oklahoma game, the A&M game was his favorite game to play in. What did you played in 4 of these? What did it mean to you?
I hate the Sooners more than I do the Aggies. I knew a lot of Aggie players. That's a great play.
Nobody touches Roy Williams on this reverse.
That's a great.
And when he breaks through at that speed, I remember it's like once you saw Vince in the open field, you saw a big man running that fast. But this was like the first time Texas had a guy
that was
like
on his draft highlight. I believe so, when he was drafted. I do believe that was one of the plays.
And look how tight they had him in. I mean, and you hadn't seen. We had just saw BJ and Roy on the sidelines together, and it had been between the 3 guys, 2 of them cycling in the second half to start the second half. BJ and Roy are both on the field together, and you have Roy just inside, almost like a slot, a naked slot, nobody else on the slot, and he just beats it to the edge.
Old school end around, big Mike Williams out there trying to find somebody to put a hat on.
He doesn't even hit anybody. Didn't have to. Wow. That's a great play call. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's a subtle adjustment, just a little bit more misdirection. Yeah. The Aggies, the wrecking crew, they're probably being really aggressive, overly aggressive. Let's just use it against them. They used that screen they had in the first half to Hodges. That was a really good play call. I think they figured out, all right, you know what? Their hyper pursuit to the football. Let's get them going one way, misdirection, go back the other way. Boom, money.
Yeah, big adjustment coming out of the half too to be able to have that ready to go.
Okay, the game copy we're watching goes ahead to Texas has the ball again.
Yep, 11:05 in the third. Hodges just had a run.
I think they still are playing 21 personnel for the most part.
Still been
still
two
got
wides.
Chad Stevens out there, I think, at times.
As ABC does a phone interview with
People
Bob
like
Davis.
Yeah, they still got that 21 personnel out here, old school, man.
Yep, you got
a fullback.
Rod was
man, that's why I figured. Yeah, that's to me that's kind of the travesty. Like, and I know they blow him out here, so it's not a big deal. But man, you should have jumped at the fact that the air raid took over the conference this year, and you recruited 5-star receivers, 3 of them, and started stockpiling wide receivers, and nobody ever thought, we should just spread them out too. They put 4 wide receivers on the field. Why can't we put 4 wide? We got 3 guys that can't be covered. Nobody can defend these guys. They never made that leap.
I wonder though, Rod, for
that's
coaches.
11 personnel. There you go. Nice.
But in passing down situations, each time they've done it's in that.
It's in passing down situations.
I wonder though, Rod. Obviously, knowing what we know now is different. As Brandon Healy makes an appearance.
Healy.
I wonder though if coaches looked at the air raid at the time, like coaches probably 10 years before this looked at the run and shoot. Like it's a fad, it's not going to last.
Yeah, they did.
Don't buy into it. But now
the fight against the old guard.
Yeah.
It was all the principles were against football.
When it wins the national title.
No, you're right.
And it wins the national title in 2000 in his second year. You should go, well, what made that so special? They didn't study it.
Yeah.
They didn't study it. And I was like, why do you not study your number one adversary and go, who studied him? Coach Akina studied him.
Yeah.
And broke it down to us. And you know who's running the air raid right now, ironically? Mac Brown.
Yes, for sure. But that's why the decision.
And you know what he said? He said, you know what I did when I got to North Carolina? I studied all the offenses, and I looked at all the best offenses around, and I found a pattern. Air raid. He's
think about this.
Really? You figured it out? Good for you. I'm glad you figured it out.
Let's add a decade to that. Not only had he not figured it out.
No, he said he did research when he was out of work, or not out of work, when he wasn't coaching.
Then, though, had a chance to redo the offense a decade later after the air raid and Crabtree beat them, but Texas chose to go to the power run game. Exactly. It was the old guard, the old think, and for a long time, it was something that new religion was not believed or thought of. It was dismissed off to the side as a gimmicky offense, and it was only because it was non-conforming to the conforming nature of football.
Well, you don't have to go air raid. All you have to do is spread them out. Air raid was just a philosophy about spreading the football out and changing what the definition of balance was supposed to be. So there've been guys running 3 wide formations and 4 wide formations before the damn air raid. The run and shoot was doing it. My point is this: when you bring in 3 5-star receivers, why would you not want to put them all on the field at the same time?
That's a great question.
Right? Now, so go back and study history of football and go, well, when did somebody do this successfully? And then go look up the run and shoot and go, well, they did it. Let's study the run and shoot. The air raid's doing it. Let me study the air raid. And build your own damn offense, which is what Greg Davis did almost annually, depending on who he had. So that's why, to me, that's a disappointment. Because you didn't utilize your best talent and you brought in something that nobody in the country was bringing in, the best crop of wideouts, probably in an 8 to 10 year span.
There's no reason again, and no disrespect to these guys, that Chad Stevens and Matt Trissel should be playing more than Sloan Thomas and Montrell Flowers.
Amen.
Yep.
Montrell Flowers a track star. Guy ran like a 10-2?
Well, and it's taking away threats, so then it's changing the numbers.
Sorry, I'm getting emotional.
No, you're fine, Rod.
You know what I mean? I'm upset.
This is why we do this stuff.
I'm remembering, how we underachieved.
Exactly. And if you think about weaponizing the offense and you try to win the numbers game and now the dual threat quarterback to add a number, when you have guys that aren't offensive threats, you're almost going 9 against 11 and you're taking away a number because it's somebody that doesn't have to be on the conscience of your opponents. And then to even your point about, should be able to understand the idea of the simplification of just spreading out in the air raid. Well, what was Greg Davis's main criticism? All of his tunnel screens and screens that we see out here to guys like Hodges and look at BJ
Johnson breaking free.
But you could see him, unbeknownst to him, using a few of the principles and trying to manufacture a run game by throwing the Hodges on the outside, but then not being aware enough to realize that the concept of spread doesn't necessarily have to be the air raid. Like you can,
Exactly.
you have things inside your offense.
Creating space.
What you're doing.
You're creating space.
The conformity of football coaches really seem to keep it rigid and old school for a very, very long time.
It's a shame the injuries kind of bit BJ late in his career because I think people forget just how good he was.
They do.
And explosive.
The people forget how good he was. He was like a long strider too. So,
Like a strike by Sims to Roy Williams for a touchdown.
Yeah, beautiful pass.
I want to see where Roy's lined up there. Is he lined up inside the numbers?
He was on the reverse.
It's on the left hash, so I think he's just into the boundary, single receiver into the boundary.
Just outside the hash, probably. There's Sims incognito.
He does look shady.
Phil. he doesn't look like Phil Sims.
He looks like, very shady. He's
He
right
looks like
numbers.
he's wearing
He's
a
right outside the
costume.
numbers, right there.
Yep.
See?
He's the outside receiver.
That's right. No, because I remember that route, that skinny post, and that I remember Coach Aquino used to tell you, depending on where they're on the hash and where they're on the numbers, you know that they're going to run that skinny post. That was one of Roy's favorite routes because once he crossed your face, Sims could put it on a line. Sims could smoke it, and there was nothing that DB could do.
there.
Yeah.
In these games, you can see how jacked up Sims was there. They tell the story. I had rewatched this a week or two ago, and talk about he had the trainer come up right here and ask him about what's wrong with his leg. He's bleeding. He's like, I don't need it. I don't need it. And he's like, no, you're bleeding. We have to go and put something on your leg
And
to
man,
cover
he takes
it up.
a shot from Ty Warren.
And gets stepped on right there by Stevens,
Respect.
which cut his leg open.
Yeah.
So now we're going to skip ahead. We're at the
24-7 at this point, Rod. You guys are
they're rolling.
Opened up a nice
it's
lead on
starting to get out of control. Yeah. I didn't realize how it escalated so quickly. I didn't remember that.
Yeah, and this is kind of one of those weird times in A&M football, like we said, because you're getting to the end of RC's tenure, and you I think like any program, any coach, when he declines at a place, I don't think you don't realize things are going downhill until it's too late.
We know that here.
Yeah, exactly. I speak from experience. But no, this is Jackaroot's telling you what Matt was talking about just a minute ago with Sims with the blood on his leg.
No, you're right about that, because this is one of the last times they meet where both teams are ranked.
A&M is
7-3
at this point. A&M is ranked, yes.
Okay, because I want to say in the Mac Brown era that they were only ranked like 5 or 6 times. I mean,
A&M was 7-3 coming into this game.
They weren't ranked at the same time a lot, and that's kind of why the luster died on it too. And at the same time, Oklahoma's ascending, and Texas is also ascending. Took us a little longer to get there, but the Aggies, they're trending in the wrong direction. They're descending at this point. Jam, catch that.
For you guys, I mean, Tech was on the come up too.
They just get leached. They just got leached. That's a great point. Yeah, and it was crazy the way it happened, because I remember when Mac Brown first got here, the Aggies win the Big 12. Like, you forget how they were right there at the top of the Big 12 in Mac's first year.
Knocking off K-State.
Exactly, and 3 years later, it's like, nope, they're done.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And then that quickly, OU was the best team in the nation.
And then they started taking all those Texas recruits that A&M usually would get when during their dominance, and then that was it.
You know what else happened to A&M though, Rod? Not the guy, because Deontay and Armani Foreman came out of Texas City, but A&M really relied on that Gulf Coast region, kind of Texas City, Lamarck, Galveston, that Gulf Coast area. Just due to mostly socioeconomic circumstances, a lot of that talent pool for them dried up.
Right, there's one of them plays when Sean Rogers and Casey Hampton are running sideline to sideline, jumping over people.
Ooh.
Bethel Johnson.
Catch.
Again, man, I mean, there's talent. There's talent on the field.
Bethel was fast. That's what I've been about Bethel Johnson. I think he ran a 4.3.
Belichick drafted him.
Yeah, I want to say he ran a 4.3, and even I think an unofficial 4.2. That dude, he can run. That's one of the things. That's why he got your boy on that curl route. Because when Bethel started opening up, man, you better open up. You better go. Yeah, I do remember that as a youngster.
On those lists of your fastest combine times.
He was a freak. In terms of how fast he was. So I do remember that. I remember him being that was one of the things we talked about in the game. It was like, all right, we'll let him get anything underneath. Please don't let Bethel Johnson get behind you. Because if he does,
I was showing Bethel Johnson with a 4.37.
Yeah, at the combine.
Yeah, I knew he was pretty fast, man. He could run. He was from like Corsicana or something like that.
I believe you're right, yes. This is Mickey Jones, I think, getting deep on Rod B, or is that Bethel also? Yeah, Rod.
I don't know if that was.
To your point, Rod, the Aggies are picking on you this game.
They can't right. Yeah, I mean, 2000, I think everybody picked on Rod B in 2000. It just made sense. You had Greg Brown, who was a veteran. Let's see what happens. Oh, bad technique, Rod B. Got beat from the jump. And you had Greg Brown back there in the secondary. Dakari Pearson was having an All-American year because he had redshirted in '99. I think this was his first year starting. Yep. So he was a freshman All-American that year. And you had Quentin Jammer. And you're just looking it over. You're like, all right, we're going at this guy. First year as a starter. We don't know what the hell he is. He's playing bump and run as a young corner.
Oh, Rod, if that was bad, this is going to be really bad right here. Oh, no, Rod. Oh, no, Rod.
Oh, man.
Rod. What, Rod B, what happened?
Ooh. I think he ran, how did he run? Maybe a post corner? Looks like it was a post corner.
Well, and if you go to, this was in 2013, but in 2013 there's a picture of the Patriots weight room and the records, and Bethel's record there was 4.26 as the fastest ran as a Patriot.
Oh, no, Bethel.
So in the Patriots weight room, that's where the 4.26 number came from.
So let's see if they show the replay. This ain't no touchdown. Mickey Jones.
Yeah, it's just bad technique.
Rod B.
I'm pretty sure he runs like an inside post corner. I thought he was going to the post, so I probably thought I had help. And then I probably, I don't know, we'll see on the replay. I don't know if I flipped my hips or if I opened up to him. Either one at the time, obviously, was a bad decision. Bad move.
And here it is.
Yeah, see.
Yeah, you tried smart. You tried to grab him.
No, I thought, I thought
he didn't want to get called.
Well, I went underneath it thinking he was going inside, and that was a bad move. I got off the upfield shoulder and went to the underneath shoulder. Bad move, bad mistake. And then he goes right over the top of me. It was a good route too. I don't want to take away from him. It was bad defense by Rod B.
That's right. A bad quarterback can underthrow
bad
it.
Technique.
You can pick it, but good throw, he's behind you.
Well, Rod, you get him back, you recover a fumble later in this game. And didn't you block a punt in the 0-1 game?
0-1, I block a punt in the 0-1 game, yeah.
I think Tony Jeffrey brings it in.
Take that, Aggies.
And then how you're saying how there's Sims again and little Maddie Sims, I guess.
That is, and Deirdre.
So 51-15, was he a part of that game, Sims's last year, and then the 43-17?
Yeah, that would have been 50-20, I think,
So
Rob. That was your
games.
last game at DKR, yeah.
Yeah, 2 home drumming.
Ivan Williams on a kickoff.
How about that?
Look how big he was, man.
Ivan Williams was there aren't any Ivan Williams being replicated. He was the one.
Well, it was like our mini Derrick Henry supposed to be. He was like that mode.
Huge
yeah, he was like 6'2", probably 230, 240. He was huge, man.
Was it the 03 Arkansas game that Ivan Williams has a big TD, I think, down the sideline? And North Carolina game, too.
Yeah.
That's one that he breaks.
Rod, you had 2 guys like that in your class. In that 99 class, it was Ivan Williams, and Tyrone Richardson was another one of those guys out of East Texas, Clarksville.
I don't know what happened to Tyrone Richardson.
I think he was done pretty quick.
Yeah, there's no way he stayed the whole time. Because I remember him early on, but I don't remember exactly what happened. Yeah, back then, that was what you wanted in a running back, right? Oh, look at B. Okay. Oh, great block. Who was that with that block?
That might have been Roy Williams.
Ooh.
Cracking it back.
Uh-oh. Are they calling it back? Is it coming back? That must have been Roy that block. Must have been.
Yeah. I like seeing.
Did they call the block in the back?
You know, guys,
hold it. Yep.
we're going to take. We'll take suggestions of these watch-alongs because we just don't have a lot to discuss right now. I know Tom Herman had a teleconference this week, and Chip and Taylor on the flagship will get you caught up on that, and you can get to Horns 24/7 and get the rundown from that. But we'll take suggestions on games, guys. One game that I want to watch with you guys that I have not ever watched in its entirety, the 08 Missouri game. Which people say it's probably the best atmosphere ever at DKR. That is one that I do want to do a watch along for.
I'm down to do that. I know it was in the LHN cycle about 6 months ago, so it's up there. That's when Roy Miller starts it off the gate with obliterating Macklin in that game. Like first snap, it's over. And they scored, 35? First 5 drives, it's 35-0 or 35-3.
Little tunnel screen, Roy Williams.
So fast.
Well, Greg Davis loved his screens, perimeter screens, didn't he,
Yeah. No.
A little too much sometimes, maybe?
No, I mean, that was one of his staples.
It worked, honestly. It was one of those things that worked. Like, even back when Kwame Cavill was running it, man.
I used to call him the Kwame play.
Kwame Cavill, Roy, like he loved that damn play. If it was executed the right way, it was nasty.
Man, what a freak this guy was.
Right here, just the size, and getting that corner. He's bigger than everybody and faster than everybody.
Pretty much.
Doing guys dirty.
Sloan to the end zone.
Look at that. Look at that dude. Look how fast he is.
Yeah, that's your
Why
third.
wouldn't you want all those guys on the field at one time? Come on, man. That's your
the
third.
basic 7-yard
That's your third receiver. Actually, he's probably your fourth best receiver right now.
Catch and run by Sloan Thomas for a
Because
touchdown.
you got veterans, and you don't want them guys on the field at the same time.
Rod, you guys are pouring it on at this point.
It's crazy, man.
You can tell Sims' leg's still hurting too, but he's just playing with.
And my thing was, if you give Sims those kind of weapons all the time, his confidence grows. I think he's a different player. I don't think he implodes as easily as he does in big games, on big stages, if the offense is more compatible with his skill set. You know what I mean?
100%.
Yeah.
And that's one where that next season just was that odd predicament to be in, because right here, even if you're listening to the broadcast, everybody's like, well, we know whose team this is now, and
exactly.
And I mean, there was just fictitious stuff about redshirting, and I had never heard about transferring, but redshirting, it was like even impossible, but he had played at these points. But where we're at now, you see him in Major, it's just a luxury of riches, but it was an odd situation at the time.
Ooh, man. Sloan was strong too, man. He was strong. He wasn't a great route runner. I just think his body was strange to me to be a great route runner. He had a weird running style, but he was so strong, and he would just big body you, man. Classic possession guy on the outside, just like that. You can just throw it to him, and he'll just big body you, Debo you with the football. And he was hard to bring down. He's got a lot of plays like that if you go look at Sloan's career, man, just like that. Even in the league, when he was in the preseason with the Texans, I think I remember him doing that.
Sims, look at that.
Yeah, those are two guys that I always wanted to do well. The Broncos, BJ, and this Texans.
How about in one quarter football, 6 for 6 for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns?
And he was on fire. Like I said, you got some ballers in that secondary now. He's throwing that football against Sammy Davis, Terrence Kill. Them ain't no scrubs. You guys got drafted first in the second round.
Look at the side on it, Rod. There's a Courtney Garcia appearance right there.
Courtney Garcia.
See big Jermaine Anderson, Miguel McKay. These guys I haven't thought about in a minute.
You got old Major.
Got to be eating Major up. You know it is.
Rod, when you talked about this a lot because you were close to him, just the pressure Sims put on himself.
Yeah, he did.
Was that all just internal?
There you go, Robbie.
Just inside him? I mean,
it was it. Well, he's obviously had high expectations for himself. He was the number one player in the country coming to Texas. His father, Super Bowl winner, and
not only
on that big stage.
Perfect game ever.
Yeah, so you started thinking about the big games where he was going to have his defining legacy games. Those are the games where he had, unfortunately, his worst games, his worst performances. That's because he would go into those games and put a lot of pressure on himself. So one mistake, it was like he was in quicksand. And one mistake, and then he was it's a downward spiral from that. So it was hard for him to recover mentally from those mistakes, because when he put that much pressure on himself, that pressure, it just built up, and it would implode at the wrong time.
And they ended up coming back with that draw again, Rod.
And in this game, I think he was just loose in the A&M games. Like, I don't think think about the A&M games are always at the end of the season. Everything's pretty much defined.
Yeah.
When did we go to the A&M game going, all right, BCS a bust?
Well, and this was so early in the career.
Yeah, like it didn't happen as much. I don't know. I don't think there was much pressure. But the Oklahoma game, nothing but pressure.
Well, that
Big 12 title game, nothing but pressure. Bowl games, big stages, pressure. And his best bowl game was what? LSU.
I think
no pressure. There's no pressure. It's like, I'm out.
And
I'm
right
leaving.
here, he's young. This is at the very beginning.
Yeah, this is when
taking over.
Yeah, he doesn't even realize the pressure. He thinks Major's done. He's like, I'm done with this Major conversation. I'm moving on. This is my team. And then next year, psychologically, all that changes with just a little bit of struggle, and then fanfare and all this, and then psychologically, I think it was a lot for a young
quarterback. And then having the Texas OU game early in the season can really change the pace of the season.
Oh, man,
it
changes
you go
everything.
From hope, a month later,
changes everything.
That's the season.
Changes everything.
It's just interesting, though, when you think about being the quarterback at Texas it really does take a special guy, not just in terms of talent, but man, mentally, just to handle everything that comes at you.
Fortitude, you got to have it, man. You know, Sam's got it. VY had it. You know, Colt had it. You got to be able to.
And a different version of it. You know, some of them are just, you know, so
Good
confident
Lord.
in
Okay, you were running draw, and then Casey Hampton finally says, "Screw your draw. I'm beating this block," and stuffing it.
Well, I think the offense is now fueling some of these guys on defense too. Now you're starting to see the big guys up front. They sense that this thing might be over. That you can put the nail in the coffin here. Sims is getting hot. Offense is rolling. You know, the Aggies are getting a little desperate. Yeah, I think that's what the defense is. This is what happens when your defense can play with a lead.
That's one of my all-time favorite Longhorns right there is Casey Hampton.
You see him running over the sideline there, like his jersey.
Get that three-man front working out there. I see it.
Yeah, look at Sean Rogers dropping into coverage.
I see Ball Reese.
To bring the back.
Switching it up, boy.
At hour 43, the hour 43 mark.
Oh, okay. There he is. Put the zone blitz. Get up on it, huh?
Stealing from like the Panthers of the late 90s. Like that's like literally.
Boy, we still got some tricks up his sleeve. That was nice. Three-man front doing it. I like that. Oh, good tackle. Good open field tackle.
Yeah, this was
party at the football, as you talk about, Rod, back in those days. That was kind of the way of life.
A lot of speed out there, man. Tons of speed out there.
That was one thing that
Sean blowing up a pile.
Yeah.
I think this game, as a young Texas fan, just observing it from afar, this was one of the first games where I remember thinking, because you guys had the Nebraska game the year before, where you could say, okay, yeah, you felt like Texas could match physicality with Nebraska, but this was one of the games where I was like, man, Texas looks fast.
Yeah.
The Texas teams didn't really. This is when you started to see Texas look fast on the field.
Well, it's because they were putting in that 99 and 2000 classes were built on athleticism and speed, and Mac was forcing those guys on the field. You know, it's one thing I always said, I don't think Mac necessarily put his hands on the offense and made Greg Davis run certain types of concepts and things like that. I don't think he was that hands-on. I do think personnel-wise, I do think he said this guy plays. Done. He did it with VY and Chance, even with Chris, Sims, and Major. Like, nah, you play. He goes back, whether he was going back and forth or whether he was like, no, this is the right move. This guy plays. That's the way I think Mac had his, or at least he expressed most of his power.
It was like he was a baseball manager.
Yeah.
It isn't like the guy that's the
and coach. It was up to Greg Davis to figure out how to use him. He's like, Greg, this guy plays. Figure out how to use Vince Young. Yep. Like, okay. And he's like, all right, zone read is the way to do it. And see, that's when Greg Davis hit his pinnacle. What he didn't do with Chris Sims, he did ultimately successfully with VY and Colt. He found the perfect offenses compatible with them. You know what I mean? And he didn't do that with Sims because maybe he was still growing as an offensive coordinator. He didn't fit. And then what he did, what happened with VY and Colt was because he's a good offensive coordinator, meaning he can come up with a scheme, he can build the infrastructure of an offense and teach it, but he's not a great play caller, which is why Longhorn fans always were upset with Greg Davis because once the fit hit the shan and Bob Stoops knew exactly what the hell your game plan was, the real Greg Davis came out, he didn't know what to do. But when you got VY running his own damn offense, which is the zone read is basically he just runs the offense. Everybody knows what the zone read is. They know exactly what's coming. Nope, you didn't have to call. You didn't have to be a play caller then. When you're running the Colt McCoy offense, he's such a cerebral freak on the field with Colt McCoy that you didn't really need to be a great play caller. You just have to build that West Coast hybrid spread offense. And that's when Greg Davis was at his best. With Chris Sims, he had to be a play caller.
Matt, can you fast forward us a couple frames here? Because we got about 10 or less than 10 minutes left in the time we've got to do the watch along today, and we're going to get to a Chris Sims to B.J. Johnson touchdown pass here in just a second to let Sims finish off this third quarter.
Yep, and we're finishing out the third quarter right now. The game has 1:12 left in the third, and then minute left in the third as Texas starts driving and finds Roy.
So we'll pass to Roy Williams, get some yardage.
How did Roy eat up that wide open? You always wonder that, right? It's like he's killing you, but there's nobody within 5 yards of him. And he ran like a simple stop route.
I would want to give Greg Davis credit for scheming that route because there's no way a defense should ever let him get that wide open on their own.
Now we're at the
And I believe we're about to get a
mark of the show.
So Rob, we got BJ in the slot to the wide side of the field, pumped by Sims, and it's house call.
I don't think he was in the slot.
Was he not in the slot?
21 personnel like
was
that.
Was it just a tight?
Well, they got a tight end.
Is it just a tight formation?
Yeah, they got him tight. They're giving him the sideline so he can run that fade.
Oh, it is a tight formation.
Yeah, so he can just run that fade. They're giving him all that outside so he can run that fade, and Sims has got a ton of room, 10, 15 yards to drop it in the bucket.
Do you have a max protect?
106.08 mark.
You have a max protect right here, maybe? Yeah, Matt Tristle's
action.
going to flood.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just the illusion of play action. It wasn't, I mean, the rush was already there, but just putting the ball out and having the back there is enough to pull in the safety.
But that, to our point though, this is Greg Davis. And but that's just Sims and BJ being great players, but it's not necessarily a schematic advantage.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's because BJ's just a better player than that guy.
Recognition, football IQ.
You know what I mean? But why not have those three wide receivers out there? You still got, nothing against Chad Stevens and nothing, but you still got Matt Trist. You got guys out there that are not a matchup advantage for you.
Yeah. Right.
They may be looking at that as a matchup disadvantage on the other side, and that was the point. That's when Greg Davis is still growing as a coordinator.
We got onto the offense at Texas 2 years ago, but there was a time where they were forced to. That's all they could have was like Kendall Moore and Kyle Porter when you would go to an empty set and just because that's all you had. It's not like you wanted those matchups. That's what you had.
Oh,
no, this is forgot about the block.
No, it's all right.
Block PAT.
Max upset about that.
A couple years later, the bizarre 1 point.
1 point safety.
Yeah, Mac hates special teams errors.
A lot of blocked kicks in Texas A&M games. You had one
that's true. Good
point for touchdown, then you had the 1 point on the extra point.
All right, Matt. So I think the next A&M drive is going to end with a Quentin Jammer interception.
Nice.
If I'm looking at this,
ahead to about the 109 mark, 110 mark. So right here's the Aggies. They had that started in the fourth quarter.
Man,
yeah,
that's crazy. And the Aggies offense not built to.
Actually, it's going to be the first play.
By Brooks.
I believe it's the first play of the fourth quarter is going to be the Jammer interception.
So coming up
That's
here.
covering like a corner. That's why Brooks is a beast, man.
Yeah.
They think he's a matchup disadvantage because he's at safety, and you put a wide out in there, and the guy played corner his whole life, or at least at the college level, and he could just match up.
4 TDs for Texas in that quarter, 27-0 after the blocked extra point.
I think I see boy Peanut Hightower hiding back there.
Nah, my boy Peanut. Special teams coach now for the 49ers.
Got it, yeah.
And he was a special teams ace for us, no doubt. Is Jammer blitzing? What's he doing? Oh, yeah.
DD.
Oh, no, this is a still screen.
Gosh, that's a good play call. Because it's like we're up by 20, so I think we were bad. I think
this is it right here, Matt. I think this is the
last play of the third.
I think this is the Jammer pick. Ferris tries to throw it away and doesn't do a good job of it.
I think the Jammer catches the ones that are throwing away.
Yeah.
And that was a hard pick to get to, but the ones they throw right at Jam will drop them.
Throwing into the ground, he was sprinting to make a tackle and just dove and found the ball.
This is good on Jam. This is a stick a foot in the ground, drive on it, and make the play.
Jam was so awesome.
I guess you do that when you're a first-round pick.
They're probably holding Casey or Sean.
36-inch pythons. It's huge.
He's there at Bledsoe at cornerback.
That's nice.
If the NBA ever gets started up again, when y'all watch the Milwaukee Bucks, watch Eric Bledsoe. You'll never look at a human again the same. He has a 7-foot wingspan on a 6-foot man body, but he has those same, like you say, 36-inch pythons.
Yeah.
He has the biggest arms and longest arms on a 6-foot body. He would have been a perfect Quentin Jammer clone if he played in the NFL.
All right, Matt, see if we can get to right around the 11:30 mark of the fourth quarter. I want to watch this one play. Maybe before we shut it down.
It's still hot.
Yep, Sims going deep there, it looked like.
We're just skipping around. Guys, the listening audience, you're more than welcome to watch this game and watch the Longhorns beat up on the Aggies.
So then now we're here at the 11:35 mark.
Perfect. This is
right in the way. Little package for Jammer to get drafted high with.
Yeah, Jammer's a beast, man. He was a monster.
Because at the 11:28 mark, we're going to see get a Rod B appearance, get a tone for that touchdown allowed.
Yeah, set up the last score of the game.
Indeed. There's a draw. Fumble.
Oh, nice hit.
And there comes Babers getting on it.
Crushed by some linemen.
Was that Brooks with the hit though? I'm trying to think who's the.
Bring us into the minds though, because y'all get hit from behind, just blindside. It just to us out here, it looks like you could kill a normal person, but to y'all, is it just a loud thud and black, or what do you hear whenever like a 300-pounder smashes the pile coming in when you recover that?
Oh man, I don't think
it's just like a car wreck, like the concept you don't even.
It was Brooks. That was Brooks. Man, that's what I'm saying. That's why Brooks was legit, man. Like he got his helmet on the football.
That can't be a fun place to be, Rod.
Bring that back again. Who's the 65? I mean, that's just crushing.
Yeah, that is. I'm sure it hurt like hell, but.
All right. Do we?
It's like a car wreck.
Do we want to see? Do we want to fast forward to Rod B doing some good man coverage in the end zone before we get out of here and wrap this up? It's going to be the A&M's last drive, Matt. It's going to be around like the 1 minute mark.
We kept the starters in the whole time. I mean, on both sides of the ball.
Sims is earning the job.
Sims is, I guess so.
Is this going to be a Hodges-Mitchell touchdown right here?
Ooh.
No, I think they have to settle for the field goal on this drive.
Yeah, I guess it's the Aggies though. It's like, they deserve this butt whipping.
Yeah, you're right, man. This is all field goals in the fourth quarter. So we're skipping ahead.
Man.
See where we're at here. 115.
Yeah, rewind this, Matt. Yeah, this is Mickey Jones. Them trying to pick on Rod B with Mickey Jones one more time. Yeah. Rod, it's red zone. Again, huh? You're not doing what Carrington Bynum did in 2012 against West Virginia. You're not bailing on the goal line.
25 yards per completion, roughly.
That's crazy.
400.
I didn't realize his game. He had such a great game. I knew it was a good game, but 383.
That's boy Icky
That's
Ike
24
right there, right?
per completion.
Yeah, it is Icky Ike.
Yep, that's only other Bowie Bulldog until old Michael Griffin.
His wife's name is Winter, I believe. lovely lady.
Winter Ike.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's a nice funky bunch formation too. Ooh, okay. Is that Doc?
Yep,
that's Doc.
He's been doing everything. He was coming up and covering
honestly, I don't know how Doc didn't end up starting for the rest of his career. Doc was so good early, and he was just like Brooks. He was a quarterback in high school, so he would read stuff really well. I don't know how Doc didn't end up starting more. I think he got in a little bit of the doghouse with Coach Aquino, and I don't know how.
Was it him and P. Jeezy that I think had to go to maybe ACC for a semester?
Maybe it's something like that. Maybe right.
That could happen real quick.
Yeah, because he was so good, man. He was so good.
Yeah, Rod B, they're trying you on that fade.
Now you finally see when you get your hands on the wide receiver and actually reroute them. You see how different the result is instead of just turning and running like an idiot.
You see right there with Greg Brown, y'all celebrating. I saw that his son is like basically one of the few 5-stars to ever
McDonald's All-American.
Greg the third.
And Greg at GB said that his son, Greg Brown Jr., basically Shaka was there. He didn't say it that he would come to Texas, but he basically said if Shaka's there, he's pretty much going to.
All right, Rod, 4th and 7. 4th and 7. Can you keep him out of the end zone? They got a tight end lined up on you for some reason. And look at Rod playing that.
They put a tight end on me for real?
Yeah.
That's just straight up disrespect. No damn respect for me, man. They beat me one time. And
his catch radius was going to get you. That guy didn't look forward.
That's why I jammed. Go back. That's why I jammed the hell out of him too, because he's a tight end. That's what y'all
big
get.
Greg Porter out there.
Look at that. I think I got my hands all in his chest.
Coverage.
Running all goofy.
Bam. Look at you. Yeah, man, running goofy. Man, what are you doing? You just throwing it on me?
He was trying to catch his balance.
You know what? That's why the next year I blocked punts and did all kind of stuff because there's disrespect, man. Disrespect.
All right, that's going to bring our watch along to an end. Guys, quick thoughts on that. Anything standing out to you?
Hodges-Mitchell is still very underrated, unappreciated. I didn't realize Sims was an Aggie killer. I mean, he might be responsible for the death of the Wrecking Crew. I mean, that might have been the end of the Wrecking Crew right there with Sims just did. Right? Casey Hampton and Sean Rogers on the same D-line. I mean, I trust me. I probably wasn't a good young corner in 2000, but I guarantee they made me look better than I was. Just having those guys on the D line, it's unbelievable.
All right, Matt. Thanks for everything, man.
You are more than welcome.
Rod B, appreciate the time and the knowledge.
Anytime, brother. Anytime.
For Matt, for Rod, for everybody at the Austin Radio Network and the Horn 104.9, 101.9 AM 1260, streaming on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. where you can get Rod B on the triple option in the afternoons each and every weekday from 3 to 7.
Shameless plug.
You can also get myself and Craig White each and every weekday 10 to noon on Light the Tower. And thanks to Matt, you get all our archives and classic interviews on the Longhorn Blitz SoundCloud page.
Yep, just type in Longhorn Blitz.
And don't forget to search Horns 24/7 Podcast. Google Podcasts is now an app on all iOS operating systems. So Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast, search Horns 24/7 Podcast. And do not miss an episode of the flagship State of Recruiting or Longhorn Blitz. For the Horn family, for the Horns 24/7 family, I'm Jeff Howe. Thank you so much for downloading and listening. And we will catch you again on the next episode.
You've been listening to Longhorn Blitz with Horns247.com. Remember, for the latest Longhorn news 24/7, visit Horns247.com.